I am pretty confident we will get a new Animal Crossing game on the Switch 2 in either 2027 or the first half of 2028. I have a lot of different reasons for believing this, which I've talked about in the past, so I'll just summarize them real quick. Animal Crossing is way too popular of a series to release late in a system's life. Animal Crossing New Horizons on the Switch was the second best-selling game on the console. I don't think Nintendo will want to wait too long to get this game out on the Switch 2. Animal Crossing is also just the type of series that you play periodically throughout a system's life. It's not the type of game you just pick up at launch, play it for a bunch, and then just put it down and never pick it up again. If you're a diehard Animal Crossing fan, you'll just be playing this game consistently throughout a system's life, so that's another reason I think it needs to be out ASAP. This year also marks 6 years since New Horizons, so 2027 and 2028 will be 7 to 8 years without a new Animal Crossing game. We will definitely be due for a new one. And lastly, even though we're getting that big 3.0 update this month, as well as the Switch 2 edition of New Horizons, I don't think that's big enough to stave off a new Animal Crossing game for like years or anything. I think that's just to satiate Animal Crossing fans for this year while they continue to cook up the next Animal Crossing game. All of that leads me to believe that we could be getting an announcement for the next Animal Crossing game as soon as this year. That has me super excited, and I just wanted to talk about what I think the future of the series is going to look like. I'm so curious as to what direction they're going to go with the series because New Horizons really broke open Animal Crossing. It allowed you to do so much, so where do you even go from there? Do you just give the player even more ability to customize your town and stuff? Like, I just don't know where you exactly take it from there. The next Animal Crossing could be very, very different, and it'll definitely be the biggest Animal Crossing we've ever seen. I have a bunch of ideas for what we could see next. Keep in mind, this video is just what I think we could see in the next Animal Crossing, not just what I want to see. It's sort of like a prediction slash brainstorm slash just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what I can come up with. An actual wishlist video will be coming later. First, let's talk about what the big new hook of this game could be. Every game since City Folk has had some kind of hook. City Folk had the city, New Leaf had you becoming the mayor and you had the ability to customize your town and stuff, and then New Horizons had you being dropped off on a deserted island and getting to build your town completely from scratch. I have a couple random ideas for what the big new hook of this game could be. The first idea I have is one that I'm still really torn on personally, and it's also one I know is going to be extremely controversial. The first potential hook I have is a full 360-degree camera. I feel like everyone has thought about what this type of camera could look like in an Animal Crossing game at some point. Animal Crossing has had a fixed camera since the very beginning, so I'm sure everyone has imagined being able to move the camera around. Now, this would be a monumental shift for the series. It would signify the sheer scope of this game, and it would change everything. It would be the game's Breath of the Wild moment that everyone's always talking about, you know, that big change in a series that just changes it forever. Suddenly, everything in the environment has to be fully modeled from front to back. The Animal Crossing purist in me is pretty apprehensive about a change like this because I feel like it could definitely take away from the simple, cozy nature of the game. But the other part of me just gets more and more excited the more I think about it. Just the idea of getting fully immersed in my cozy little town. This is something I would definitely have to see officially before I fully know how I feel about it. It could very easily swing from one extreme to the other. There is one scenario where it just completely takes away from the simple, the laid back, the cozy nature of the game. It makes it more complex, but like in a bad way. And it just doesn't make it feel like Animal Crossing anymore. But on the other hand, it could make it feel like you're fully immersed in the town. It could feel like you're actually there. And getting to see your town and your villagers through that lens, I think has the potential to be really, really cool. There's this game that someone made in the PS4 game Dreams that's basically an Animal Crossing game, but with a 360-degree camera, and just like walking around and getting to talk to the villagers and everything and getting to move the camera all around, that does get me pretty excited for the potential of an officially made Animal Crossing game with that sort of camera. There's also that Animal Crossing track in Mario Kart 8 which also gets me super hyped for the idea. Just seeing that world in that way is just unreal. Again, I'm really, really torn on this idea. It's something where I'm kind of like morbidly curious to see. Like, I really just want to see it officially made to know how I feel about it. I want to see how Nintendo would go about doing it, how exactly it would look like, what the art style would look like. I don't know, even if we don't see that in the next entry, I think it is very likely that we'll see it someday. I don't know if they might not be quite ready for such a monumental shift in the series, but I feel like they do have to greatly shake up the series in some way with how much they broke open the series with New Horizons. Another idea I had for a potential hook is the the ability to have multiple towns. Basically, you could have maybe like 3 different towns that you can manage and customize and stuff. That could mean you would have a total of like 30 villagers, and each town could have their own unique shops and stuff. This is another idea that would make the next Animal Crossing the biggest one yet. There are a couple flaws with this idea, which is why I don't feel like super strongly about it. I don't really know how this idea would work with the museum. Like, would just one of the towns have a museum you can donate to, or like would you donate something to one museum and then it would show up in all 3 museums? Also, I feel like some people, myself included, would just get really attached to one specific town. Like that one town would become their favorite, and then they would just kind of neglect the other towns and forget that they're there, and it would kind of defeat the purpose of the whole idea. I think I personally would find myself just finding a town that's my favorite and find a group of villagers that's my favorite and just stay there the entire time and forget about the other towns I created. At that point, the whole hook just goes out the window. But I know a lot of people would love to have more towns to be able to customize and bring all their ideas to life. The third idea I have is probably the weakest as a hook, but I still think it would be a really fun idea, and that would be the ability to have your own store. I think this is the weakest hook because it doesn't drastically change the series. I just think it's a fun idea. You could have a store that's completely your own, like your own custom store, or maybe you could take over the Nookling store or something, and then you could run it and try and upgrade it, and then you would have consistent bells coming in based on how well your store is performing. The 360-degree camera is definitely the strongest hook out of the 3 just because it would change so much from the series, but it would also by far be the most controversial one. Again, it could really swing both ways. I am pretty convinced though that we will see this in Animal Crossing eventually before I die. Like, to me it just seems like an inevitable evolution to the series eventually. I just really hope they get it right. Now that we've covered all the potential hooks or gimmicks of the series, I just want to talk about some random ideas that I had. The first one, and the one that I would be most excited for, is the ability to have a job. This could include the Nookling store, Able Sisters, the Roost, or even the museum. New Leaf actually dabbled with this idea with you being able to work at the Roost. You served coffee to your villagers and would get coffee beans and other stuff as a reward. I think they could go all in with this idea in the next game. Basically, these jobs would be little mini games, and each store or business in the game would have a different mini game you can do once a day. And how well you do in these mini games would determine how many bells you get at the end of your shift. The Roost could be just like New Leaf, where you serve coffee to your villagers. The Nookling store could maybe have you doing something related to doing inventory. Able Sisters could have you designing clothes for them using the custom design feature. That could be especially cool with the mouse controls on the Switch too. When I was a kid, I had this idea where you could work at the police station and basically stop crimes in your village. I remember having this idea where you would walk into the Nookling store and there would be this like special NPC you would encounter that would be trying to steal something, and then you'd have to like chase him around the store and catch him before he escapes. Then you turn him into the police station and you get some bells for it, but he would just always find a way to escape the police station, and you would just constantly have to like stop him throughout the game. I highly doubt they would add something like that in an Animal Crossing game, but it would be really funny to see a childhood idea come to life. I think adding jobs would be a fantastic thing to add to your Animal Crossing daily routine. You know, like every day in Animal Crossing, you go through your daily chores or whatever to earn bells. You know, you go fishing, you shake trees to collect fruit, you catch bugs, you dig up all the fossils and get them assessed, and you sell them. I think doing mini games to earn bells would be a great way to kind of shake things up and break up the usual pace of play. The next idea I had is a pretty simple one, and it's literally to just make the town bigger. Make it the largest town we've ever seen in Animal Crossing. New Horizons had the biggest town we've seen so far in the series, but maybe the next game, I think they could go even bigger with that. I think they could give us more than 10 villagers. We've had 15 in the first Animal Crossing, so maybe we could go back to that, having a max of 15 villagers. And it would be great to also have more space to decorate your town and customize things. We could see new shops in the next game as well, so we'll need more space in order to be able to have those. The next idea I had is actually something I've seen floating around a little bit online, and that would be adding bikes to the game. Bikes just make sense to me in Animal Crossing. It would work really well with the relaxing vibe, just being able to ride your bike throughout your town. This would also be perfect if the town does end up being bigger. You could hop on your bike to traverse the town more quickly. Also, I just really like the idea of seeing your villagers ride around your town on bikes. I think that could be really fun. They'd have to do a unique bike riding animation for each of the species in the game, including the really big ones like the elephants and the hippos. I don't really have a specific specific reason to believe this could be a possibility other than just seems like it would really work. Next, I want to talk about all the features I think could be returning from New Horizons, as well as all the things I think will be left behind. The first feature I think that's definitely returning is the ability to place furniture anywhere outside. This one is a pretty obvious one to me. This feels like a natural progression to the series and not just a one-off gimmick for New Horizons. Decorating your house with furniture and stuff was always a big part of Animal Crossing, so it just feels inevitable that it would eventually lead to you being able to put furniture anywhere outside. So I think that's here to stay for pretty much forever. Another feature I think we'll see again is terraforming. Now, I personally was not a big fan of terraforming in New Horizons because I feel like it gave too much control to the player and basically made you God, and you could just completely transform your island to the way you see it, and I feel like that took away a bit of the charm for me personally for Animal Crossing. I don't like when the player gets too much control with those sort of games. I want to just pick an island and be forced to live in it and be happy with it, but that's just me. I get that's kind of a weird thing to complain about. I will admit this would be a really odd thing to take away from players because I know a lot of people really like this feature and they like being able to just fully customize their island to the way they see fit, and it would just be kind of strange to give them all that power and then just take it away from them in the next game. I feel like that would just be such a downgrade for those people that really enjoy that feature. So I'm pretty confident it's here to stay. I will say though, if they do end up going the 360-degree camera route, I could see that being a little bit tricky. No, I could actually see that being really tricky. If you have like a fully 3D world, it would be kind of hard to be able to just fully customize the landscape, but I don't think it would be impossible. Another feature I think we'll see again, but I'm also like pretty hesitant on it, is being able to develop your town completely from scratch. This one is really hard to say whether or not it's like a gimmick that's exclusive to New Horizons or if that's what Animal Crossing games could be moving forward. I know a lot of people really didn't like how slow paced the beginning of New Horizons was, so I could totally see them just going back to the original Animal Crossing ways where there's already, you know, like 5 villagers and there's already established shops and stuff. You already have the museum from day one. But on the other hand, I could also see them doing it again, just like less extreme. Like maybe you get to your town and there's like 3 or 4 villagers and you already have like the Nookling store and like the town hall or whatever, and then maybe you have to like open the museum and Able Sisters on your own. It's really hard to say, but I'm kind of leaning towards building the town from scratch, just less extreme as in New Horizons. A feature that I'm extremely iffy on whether or not it will return is crafting. I'm kind of leaning towards yes with this one. I personally didn't think crafting added that much to Animal Crossing once you get out of the deserted island phase of your town. Like in the very beginning when you're just like scrounging for resources and trying to get your tools built and your first pieces of furniture built, like in that phase of the game it definitely added to the game in my opinion. But once you start getting like the shops built and everything, it just, I didn't find myself crafting stuff that much other than just like furniture that I couldn't get at the store or something. Like once my island was pretty developed and I had all my shops, I just didn't find myself crafting very much. Even when my tools broke, I would just go to the shop and buy new tools because I didn't feel like crafting them myself, and I'd say like 90% of my furniture just came from the store. It's a new feature that doesn't feel like an Animal Crossing staple. Like when New Leaf added the ability to go swimming and dive for sea creatures, like that felt like something that should always be with Animal Crossing from that point onward, but crafting just doesn't have that same effect on me. It feels like it could just be a one and done. But at the same time, this is also their opportunity to refine the crafting mechanic. They could make it better and make it fit in with the gameplay more even after your town is more developed. And then I could also see a scenario where there's still crafting, it just like takes a backseat in this game. Like it's just not as prominent. I would say I'm 58% sure crafting will return in the next Animal Crossing. Now let's move on to things I think we will not see return in the next Animal Crossing. I do not think we'll see the whole deserted island thing come back. I think that was just a one and done for New Horizons. It was a really fun concept. I really enjoyed it. I loved the atmosphere and the aesthetic of that game. But if they did it again, I think that would just be pretty stale. I think they're gonna go back to the traditional Animal Crossing town in the next game. And honestly, as fun as the whole deserted island thing was, I'm pretty ready to go back. I do kind of miss the feeling of being able to just like hop in a train or something and visit other towns and not being like stranded on a deserted island away from everyone. Another thing I don't think will return is breakable tools. Holy shit, good riddance. I could not stand the breakable tools in Animal Crossing. I am the biggest defender of breakable weapons in Breath of the Wild because I feel like they actually added something to the game and made it more fun. Breakable tools do not have the same effect in an Animal Crossing game. It only makes it stressful and inconvenient and not fun. It really harms the relaxing and peaceful nature of the game. They added absolutely nothing to the game after you got out of the early deserted island stage. Like, yeah, when you're scrounging for resources, collecting sticks and wood, it is kind of fun crafting your tools in the beginning and then having them break. But once your island becomes more developed and it feels a bit more like a traditional Animal Crossing experience, then it just gets so annoying. It's so inconvenient and, again, just does not add any sort of value to the game. It still baffles me to this day that golden tools in New Horizons can still break. I think in the next game we could see breakable weapons if they're like the flimsy tools and the stone tools, but anything iron and above should not break. I don't imagine they would. I feel like Nintendo probably heard the noise in terms of like people complaining about breakable tools, so I would be very shocked if they came back in this game. You should not have to catch every fish and bug in the game in order to get a weapon that doesn't break. I don't think it should be exclusive to golden tools. I think iron and above should not break. Even if they bring back silver tools, I still think it should be iron and above. And I think that pretty much covers everything. Those are all my ideas for the next Animal Crossing game. I'm super excited. I really do think we could be seeing our first teaser sometime either this year or next year. I'm also super hyped to see the direction they take the series. It's so hard to say for sure, which makes it even more exciting to talk about and come up with ideas. I'd love to hear all about your guys' ideas too. There's so many different directions the series could go. And that's all I have to say, so farewell.